Leslie.
Sorry, I'm late.
No worries. We're
Right on
just
time.
about, yeah, right on time.
We
got time. Steve will be here any second. But in fairness to everyone else,
It is currently.
oh, we're right at 2. Okay.
Leslie, those handouts are for you, one of the packets.
Okay, let's get started. Want to call the
This
meeting to
Is based
order.
off of,
Lily,
sorry,
thank you.
I'll answer that.
I'm Bonnie Tucker. I'm on the select board and the liaison to this task force on the water and sewer rates. I'm joined by Lily Gilligan, who's our finance director and greatly supporting this effort, and Justine Hansen, who is supporting this work and taking minutes. Thank you. And I want to welcome David Ogland to our group. Thank you for being here. We all went around and introduced ourselves. I don't think we'll do that again, but could you introduce yourself?
All right. My name is Dave Odland, and let's see, everybody went through. So I have a master's degree in engineering physics, an executive MBA, a number of professional certifications, lived in town for 10 years, been on the capital planning subcommittee 3 years, and the budget committee 2 years. And mostly I've worked with Nate and Seth.
Thank you. And he's a little modest here, but he one of the things David did was map all the underground infrastructure for water and sewer and to help us start understanding the status of the situation. Am I correct, David?
Sort of, yeah. I mean,
You went to every building and
yeah,
took a lot of
went down in a lot of
information,
sewer holes.
yeah.
You. I mean, yeah, with
Yeah.
a lot of Nate's help and Seth's help, we
Yeah.
did a lot of work to try and understand the extent of the system that we own and operate as a town and get a kind of feel for where it stood
Yep.
mechanically and maintenance wise and that,
Great.
you know.
Yeah. Thank you.
Thank you.
Yeah, so I want to remind everyone that we are recording, so others who are interested can follow along. I also want to share that David Bernstein will not be joining on Zoom. He's not in town, and it's just challenging, so he will stay with us, but not be here synchronously. And with that, I hope, David, that you were able to get up to speed with what we covered before. Yes, thank you, so that we don't have to repeat that. I want to mention that while Lily sent out minutes from Monday, you got them pretty recently, like maybe less than 2 hours ago. So I'm not going to call for a vote on these minutes. We'll pick it up next meeting. You deserve, a bit more time on that. So there were some action items that we took away from last meeting that Lily followed up on. I asked Nate about his conversation with Steve. We think maybe that was addressed. We'll find out from Steve. But one of the things that Lily created for you was this spreadsheet, a lot simpler. And this is actually important because not only will what it does is it gives you an understanding of how what the expenditures have been for recent history and the current budget for both water and sewer. That's the top line for water and the top line for sewer. So that's just kind of informational and helpful, hopefully for you to see how it's progressed over time. But also importantly, for both water and sewer, we do receive revenues that don't come in through users. They come in through other like backflow and well, you could probably rattle them off, Nate, but there are like hydrant costs,
Impact fees.
impact fees,
Accepted
connection
fees.
fees. So there, I mean, like subdivision. So there's a number of things that come in as revenue that does not come in through your water, through the collective water users. And so it's important that we net those out, because otherwise we're requiring the users to pick up more than in fact they're needing to provide. So we did this for both the water and the sewer. So you can see the third line really represents what it shows up in our budget as user fees, but this is really what all the people that use water and sewer in this town, this is what they need to provide. Now, we have some other caveats that we're going to talk about in a minute, but this is just to orient you to where we've been, where we are now, and how we think about the user fees versus other revenue sources.
Does fund expenditures include the bond for Cold Snow Springs?
That shows up in there.
And
Mhm.
312 includes payments from Jaffrey for the bond, towards the bond for Cold Snow
Mhm.
Springs?
They do
Yes.
not pay for the bond.
No,
The
it's not the bond.
They have their own
but
separate
They have
funding
a separate
sources.
bond, okay.
But to your point, though,
They are charged.
Still has
they
to
are
use- I know
charged.
for
They're
some user
charged,
fees,
and
yeah.
it's a pro rata share.
Yeah.
So we have the expenditures estimated for Cold Stone, then we do pro rata between
Yeah.
us and Jaffrey. And the revenues that we bring in from Jaffrey show up as revenues. Any questions about what this is showing?
Sorry, are those non-user revenues? Is that how they-
Non-user, that would
yes.
be
That,
non-user.
that we charge Jaffrey monthly.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yep, exactly. Okay, seeing no questions. This number, so if you look at water, essentially 5 million, and then sewer, 1.3. This becomes important because then this starts forming up what we need to hit as we start doing various scenarios, what we need to hit to at minimum, we talked about this at great length on Monday, but minimally hit our operational expenses. And one of the things we talked about was that unlike the way the rest of the town budget is organized, the water and sewer enterprises, there's no separate capital budget. So what ends up happening is that capital things show up in the operational budget. So a good example is SCADA. So this would normally be considered a capital expense, but currently, and we are upgrading SCADA this year, so currently SCADA is showing up in the capital expense. Now, I know there's interest in this group to make sure we're both covering operational expenses and considering what we need to build for capital replacement, but we don't have a capital improvement plan at this point. So we want to sort of keep the housekeeping clean so that we're super clear about hitting the operational revenue targets. And then if this task force wants to, it could add some amount to start building. But also we do have a fund balance. It's not like we're starting from zero in both water and sewer. So if you look at, do people have this? No. Okay, let me pass this out. Okay, so okay, so this sheet starts with the fund balance, so you can be very clear about. And by the way, I really want to make sure, just as a guiding principle, that everything we do is extremely clear and transparent. So, and that everyone feels comfortable and understands what we're doing and where everything comes from. Okay, so at the very top, you can see 3.15, 14, almost 3.2, and 3.6 for sewer. Those represent the current fund balance. So like in another type of world where there's operation and capital, this would be sort of potentially sitting in the capital for use with capital. Or it could be used if for some reason we under bill and we don't hit our operational target, we would have to draw from this. And actually, interestingly, historically, there were some reasons why we ended up with a fund balance historically for other non-user reasons. And there were years where we were not hitting our operational budget and we were drawing down those funds. So these funds can be used for either operational or capital. So that's what these are. So that's where we're sitting today. And then what you see is a list of things that Lily looked through to try to see like what in the water and sewer. So what we're trying to get to is we have this model that we're going to use to sort of play with different levers to figure out how to set this rate structure. But we also have to really, as a group, align on what the target is. So we got to get the target first before we start playing around. So that's what I want to walk through next. And then after we do that, I'd like to start understanding from all of you what we've been thinking about since Monday about how you'd like to play with the levers. And then we can actually be dynamic. You can pull up the model. We can actually be dynamic. And you can actually say, well, what if we do this and what if we do that? And we can plug it in. And then we'll know, we can evaluate how we're doing because we will have aligned on the target. So, and Nate, this will be important for you to sort of weigh in on and make sure you're comfortable as well. So Lily went through, like I just covered SCADA. So SCADA typically would be capital. We're not going to see this expense next year or the year after or the year after.
There's more SCADA upgrades that need to happen. That's just the radios and the PLCs. That's just the way that everything talks
Fair
to
enough.
the treatment plant.
Fair enough. Okay. So it may be that there's other
It's not
capital.
typical annual cost.
It's not a thank you. It's not a typical
correct.
cost.
Yeah.
Yeah. I'm wondering if you, Lily, could go through these and talk about your thoughts and rationale for why you pulled these out as a recommended pull. And just, I want to make sure everyone's comfortable. And if you're not, that's okay. We can keep it in for the target.
Sure. For the electricity budgets, we bumped up the electricity budgets for FY27 because of the impact of the Strait of Hormuz and its impact directly on our Eversource bills. And not knowing how long that was going to be an impactful thing, but based off of looking at the last 6 years of actual spending in the electricity budget, including the last 6 months where it's been very volatile, I would say that we could expect to perhaps see a reduction in the FY28 budget by $41,000 for water and $27,000 for sewer. I can't promise that. But based off of those statistics and analysis of current markets, that's I think it's a comfortable closeness to assume that that would be a lowered electricity cost, and probably we won't even spend that. That would be potentially the savings that we could experience off of this year's budget.
So 27, because we're going to be
FY27 might underspend the budget for water, electricity, 41,000, and sewer, 27,000.
So can let's just stop on each one.
Yep.
Yeah. How do people feel about that? You want to keep
Do you
it?
want to know how large those budgets are?
You want to keep it?
I think a more useful number than this would actually be if you removed all these, what is the nut?
Yeah, so you have that,
That,
is
because,
what she's asking.
yeah, every year there's some things that need to be considered in a budget that, you
So
know.
to see this 192 here, she can
So-
calculate it, but see the 260 and the 192? Those would
On
be
this
how,
sheet?
on that sheet? Yeah.
Okay,
That's how much, like, for instance, for water, currently, we're looking at 1.5 in this sort of long spreadsheet.
so, but just because the ending fund balance is 288 doesn't mean that
Yeah, I'm
that's
not
our
looking-
operating cost.
Yeah, no, I'm not looking at that. Just look at the 260. So if you look at the 260, do you see that?
Sure.
Yeah. Then if you look at this spreadsheet, the very.
My eyes are not good enough for these sheets, I'm sorry.
I'm doing it on the screen.
And my arms aren't long enough.
Leslie, I'm doing it also on the screen.
Yeah, so Leslie, currently the user fee, so if we think about the proposed budget, 1.8, we take out the budgeted revenues of 312,000. We have 1.494. That's our current target if we don't make any further adjustments for water. 1.494 million. Then this set right here that we're going through is, are there any other things we would feel comfortable taking out of what we have to hit? Your nut that you talked about, that 1.494, do we stick with that? Or is anything we believe should be taken out of that the users would have to pay?
I guess
Does that make
my
sense?
question about this exercise is if the non-repeating things are only $260,000, it seems like not fruitful to go over each line.
Okay,
If somebody felt that Lily was off by $200,000 or something, then we could have that, and that's really Nate, not us saying, are you okay with this number? Because what do we know?
well, just the rationale.
Yeah,
just
no, I
wanted to
get it,
make
I
sure.
get it, I get what you're saying, but I think that's my opinion,
Okay.
is that 260 on a $1.2 million budget isn't significant enough to spend a ton of time on.
Fair enough. I will say, having worked with the model, that hundreds of thousands actually can swing the rate a bit.
No,
So,
but I guess my point is, I'm comfortable if this is the number,
okay.
what would I know what was missing?
Yeah, that's why I wanted her to,
Yeah,
I feel
no,
the same way. Like, how do we weigh in here?
yeah,
I
yeah,
don't
fair
feel
enough.
Like I know enough about anything to say
That's fair.
this.
So,
So
Lily,
I'd be happy
yeah,
to go through the other couple
Yeah, go ahead.
items that, so the debt payments next year will be $68,000 less. So futurely, that would be a reduction. And chemicals, it looks like we are trending to be $40,000 in savings this year and in future years based, so we might have a little more in that budget to not spend. So those items do, for water, add up to 260,000. And in sewer, the SCADA CIP budget for sewer was 81,000. We've already talked about electricity, and then I'm seeing a possible savings for chemicals, services, engineering, and Nate can tell you what CMOM is. I have no idea if that's what it's called on the budget, but
It's
the
collection system
acronym.
maintenance. It's in our permit. We have to do a certain amount of collection system maintenance. And
So-
we have to get back to the state with what we did for
okay.
that year.
Yeah, so Nate, and I know you want to say something, David.
All I was gonna say was that, you can look at what Lily's done here as far as, identifying specific line items, and saying we can do that. SCADA is a capital expense, so basically the decision is, do I wanna make the ratepayers pay this year for that capital expense, or do we wanna take it out of surplus?
Exactly.
And in a similar fashion, we generated a lot of surplus last year. So in a way, the other items on there are also kind of a line item way by saying, well, it looks like we might be all right for the coming year. We made a budget a little more. So the select board could say, let's use some of the surplus to just offset that right now, and we'll worry about it later. If you look, when we get farther down and you start to look at the model, you'll see that that the revenue model, the amount that we're targeting to raise is plus or minus about 200,000, depending on if it's dry or wet. And this was supposed to be a dry year, but I can tell you that my lawn has not required any watering this year. And so this, I think, is gonna look more like an average or even a wet year by the time we finish the summer. And of course, we're already finishing the summer on the old rate, which we know generates more money than we need.
Yeah, thank
So-
you, David.
So
I think
you
that's a
know,
nice summary.
what Lily did is nice, but really it's just about, do we want to recommend to the board, hey, let's use a little bit of surplus so that the rate will be lower next year. And when you see the rate model and the kinds of things that I guess Bonnie or Lily did already, you can see it makes a big difference, just even that $250,000 and the $200,000.
It can.
But both of those numbers are in fact within the unknowns,
The range,
for the range for the revenues in the first place, you know.
yeah.
And those revenues are based on, 10 years of historical data, so they're pretty decent.
So if we kind of call it a CIP holiday and just only focus on what we actually need to run the plant for to produce what we're producing, instead of concentrating on the overall number, then that, I think we would just need to agree that that's what we're gonna do.
Yep.
And Leslie, going further, one thing that does for us is, by the end of this month, we'll already be starting to organize capital planning. And there are a couple things that were on my mind for this fall. One was to at least take the surpluses in sewer and water and at least conceptually separate them into operating surplus and capital surplus, so we can start to think about, this is how much money I've saved for what I got to spend in the future. We already have from Nate and Seth estimates of what they need for vehicles, which we've not had previously, to go into the capital planning budget. We also have better estimates of what we think about water and sewer lines to consider in capital planning for this fall. We do need to think more carefully and start to put numbers onto what do we need to do at the sewage treatment plant in terms of the building itself and the equipment and the space we have, plus the amount of capital that we have in terms of pump stations, electrical controls, and that is pretty significant. And that we haven't put a number to that yet in terms of how much do we need to save each year to kind of figure, support that spending. But if we get this far this year, that gives us until, next spring, then over the winter, to try and target a little better and say, because right now we know we have a lot of money to spend on water and sewer pipes over the next 20 or 30 years, but we don't know, well, when do we want to start savings? I mean, we actually have started saving some already, but we don't know when we actually want to start spending the money and how much we think we need at the time. And that's all going in, like Ed said last week.
Yeah.
We need a capital plan for it.
We need a capital.
Some thought and something for the board to say, yeah, you guys go execute this. So.
Yeah, exactly, David. And we did talk last time about the fact that we don't currently have a capital budget plan for this enterprise. And we need that. And then that's really gonna ultimately guide how we think about operating versus capital and thinking about the fund balance in that way. Thank you for summarizing all of that. It's super helpful. So I think, Leslie, the question at hand. Yours is the question at hand.
Can I just ask a follow-up question to that? Lily, I know, when we talk about the general fund balance, you always have a number in mind of what you need as a cushion or what you would prefer as cushion. I'd love to hear, and it doesn't have to be today, but like, what is the preferred cushion on the fund balance for water and sewer so that we don't swing too hard the other way in our efforts to make a reasonable utility rate?
I think what's important to know is how much would it cost for a length of significant pipe that might completely catastrophically fail. I don't know what that price is. Do you, Nate?
I don't.
Well, actually, to that point, and then Ed, I want to hear what you have to say. So I'll just share my personal current point of view at the moment. What I'm most concerned about, and I don't know if this is what you're most concerned about, Nate, but one of the things I'm very concerned about is that very shortly, we're gonna have a new fire station. And then after that happens, we're gonna redo the Elm. We're gonna redo Elm. But what we know for sure is that under Elm, the infrastructure under Elm is very problematic. And so I don't want to, this is just me personally, this is not the select board, that's just me. I don't want to see us redo that road without redoing the infrastructure underneath. So I asked Seth, do we have an estimate for what it would take for Elm? Just as an example. So just to, since we don't have this well documented and determined across the enterprise. And he said around 500,000 as a rough estimate. So, and what we do know is that is a vulnerable place in this town. I don't know, David, if you would agree with that or not. So I think we do have some very near-term needs. And I asked for the estimate because I wanted to compare it to the fund balance, just to see if, we could actually pull that off. And clearly we can, with the fund balance we have. But I'd like, Ed, you wanted to say something.
No, just same idea, just, that's one good example, but you lose a lift pump, you're looking at another $500,000 probably. Not to, and I mean, there are all kinds of vulnerabilities and, my experience as a fire department, I mean, we have catastrophic failure of a fire engine, we have a backup. I live at the corner of Cheney Ave and Old Street Road. That lift pump fails, there is no backup.
There are 2 pumps in there.
Well,
But, yes, yeah,
yeah, you have 2 pumps in there because you don't want one to fail.
right.
But and so I think that, and I know you've talked about, I think last week you mentioned sort of undertaking this sort of whole analysis and the rest of it, going forward to figure out what some of these things are. So I don't know if, I think my own sort of thought process now, setting up sort of the fair and equitable, I think we can agree that with these balances of 2.8 and 3.4, there's probably enough for a year or maybe 2 years. So rather than us getting wrapped up on what do we need to do for the future for building fund balance and building capital, let Seth and Nate figure out what their capital is going to be, understand, and us focus on how to make it equitable so Kate doesn't, lose sleep at night and,
Yeah.
in the future.
Well,
and
and
sort of-
many others.
Yeah, and
yes.
many others, and sort of look
Yes.
at that and sort of just focus on like, what is a model that's gonna work? Because if we have a model we all love and then we decide, hey, our surplus needs to be, we wanna collect 15% more annually to keep a surplus where it needs to be, you put that 15% into your revenue and it's easy. I think that nailing that down, so I don't know if these, like, if we're comfortable this balance will get us through a year or two, I don't know if it's worth spending a lot of time on this balance now. I don't know.
Yeah, no, that's
I'll
not-
let Nate and Lily fight that out.
So I think you, Nate, do you have a point of view on this for the for the task force?
For the fund balance, what we should have,
No,
Or-
just like if we, just following from what Ed said, should we just be focusing at the moment on, well, in a sense, it is your question. Should we be focusing at this point on covering our operational costs as they appear in the 27 budget with maybe some minor modifications that Lily recommends? Given the fund balance and what you have, your understanding of the current situation of the enterprise from an infrastructure and functioning standpoint.
I think with the budget, we need to be careful with the revenues because they're not guaranteed. And I think that we've talked at length internally. I don't know if anyone else has heard this, but the septage, we take in a lot of septage. and we make decent money taking it in. But it's really one guy, pretty much. So if he decides to go somewhere else, we're taking in less than half of what we're taking in now.
Is that
And he's talking about,
That's
he's
the
talking
other
about
revenue
three
category.
hundred thousand.
That's the other revenue.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Is that what percentage of that, is that all of it? Is that what that
That's
Septage?
percentage is that?
Approximately $300,000
$300,000
in revenue
Yeah.
for the sewer.
Yeah.
Wow.
And, but if you look at it over time, and you can see that on the spreadsheet for those, sorry. When you look at the sewer revenue over time, it just has steadily increased. So it's not like huge, I appreciate it's not guaranteed, but it's not hugely volatile. At least when
So
I
if
look
this
at.
guy, so this guy doesn't have a backup guy. So if he gets hurt, he's out of business.
Mhm.
And then that means other people are gonna pick it up. And Sauhegan and some of the other companies that come to us have admitted that it's quicker for them to drive out of Peterborough and go to Concord and dump, because it's quicker to dump there and then come back. They only come here because they come here 24/7.
Yeah, so I think what I would say to that is, I think if that happened, I don't think that would kill us. I think we've got some buffer for something like that. And then one of the things that I think the task force had talked about last week is kind of like the Fed, like revisiting each year. Where are we at? What does it look like? Did something like that happen? And how do we adjust? So it's sitting in the budget currently. So, and then I guess the question for you though was from an infrastructure standpoint, are you, like, this was Ed's question. I think you were saying like a year or two.
Yeah, I mean, do we need to focus on, should our focus be on getting a rate that works? So if we're gonna adjust this, we know that we're not, we're comfortable that it's fair, it's equitable,
Right.
and it
The
can meet
revenue.
our expenditure, because
Right.
we can plug any number we wanna plug into that expenditure side to include capital surplus or whatever else. But if we were in a panic about making sure we were building this reserve, and I don't know if we are, but if
That's
we're
the
not
question.
if we're not in a panic over it, then let's focus on just getting a rate set, because quite frankly, in 6 months, select board can be setting the rate for fiscal 28.
Yeah, yeah, that's really, I think
One
what's on
other
the
thing too,
table.
you made a very interesting point, Bonnie. You talked about, we've gone from 660,000 in fiscal 24 to 680 in 27. That's about a 5% increase. In the same period of time, the operating costs have gone up 25%.
Mhm,
So this is becoming a smaller and smaller portion of the overall budget.
that's
So
true.
in a sense, we're becoming less dependent on this every year,
Mhm.
because it's a shrink, if it was
As a
growing the same
percent.
point, then it's fine, but we're getting less and less in terms of our budget. So I don't know if it's, yes,
Proportionally.
it's the same dollar amount, but proportionally it's less.
It's
So I don't,
less.
and it's probably gonna continue to be less, because you also fight the battle of, if we raise our costs, all of a sudden the cost of diesel and time is worth it for him to drive to Concord.
Right.
So there is that
There-
balance.
Yeah, exactly, good point.
Yeah.
Can I say something real quick?
Yes.
If we're gonna revisit the water rates every year, just say like that's what's proposed, right? Couldn't that like capital amount, the percentage that we put away, be changed every year too?
Yes,
depending on
yes,
what-
yes.
I mean, that seems like the flexibility piece of it. If like we already have a bunch of money and this year isn't crazy, if we're doing it every year, then be like, okay, well, this
We
year
can
we went
adjust.
through all this, so we have to raise it, and maybe have like a cap on how much we can raise it so people aren't shocked. But if it's a yearly thing, it doesn't seem like we have to like solve every single problem today. It's just every year we're looking at what needs to be done and work that into the percentage,
Yep.
right?
And the
Yep.
point that
Yep.
David made, which I thought was a very interesting point, that I don't think anybody usually talked about before, same as the selectmen set the tax rate based upon the fund balance in operating, nothing stops the select board from setting the water rate based on the fund balance in the water and sewer enterprise accounts. So if they find that, hey, we've got a good surplus this year, we had a really good year, it rained like heck, we didn't think it was going to, and now we're gonna apply $500,000 of our fund balance, so we know what the operating is, they pull that 500,000 off, that's the number you pump into the formula. So, I think, I don't think we should lose the flexibility for that David just brought up.
Yeah, totally agree.
Yeah.
Totally agree. And I would see that as part of what we would think about each year when we look at it. Where are we sitting?
And that is in fact what the
But-
capital planning committee
But-
does in the fall.
Yeah.
That is
Unfortunately,
what we do.
for the tax rate, there's a really
Planned
easy
it this
formula
way.
for it.
I know, I know. This
You know
is
exactly
different.
what your valuation is, you divide it out, here's your tax rate, and to Nate's point, we have no idea what's gonna happen,
Yeah. So I
Everybody could
think,
decide they want a green lawn and it goes way up, or everybody could decide they don't care and it goes way down.
yeah. So I think just kind of hearing everyone, what I think we're netting out on this is let's focus on the operating target for this exercise, for this proposed rate structure. Is anyone having any concern about that? Okay.
Including backing these
Including
out.
what Lily?
Okay.
I guess I have one concern, just to, trying to understand the condition of the basic infrastructure, the underground, what we don't really see. And my understanding is old, a lot of it. Is it, if you could ideally target a number that you would put back into the ground to repair pipes like Elm Street, this is on the docket, sounds like it's $500,000 or thereabouts to do it. How many other streets do we have like that we might be paving, and how regular, if we were looking after these things, we could do it mechanically, systematically, I should say, not mechanically. Is there, and that would be built into the rate so that we would be, that we would be able to get ahead of the curve. My understanding is it's a big dollar amount
And it
possibly.
would depend on the area of town, and it would
Right.
also depend on whatever Tim's paving that year,
Right,
and how we're gonna impact and who we're gonna impact
right.
on what would get done.
So it's
So it's not
pretty
an easy
complex. Yeah, it's not an easy answer, is it?
No,
It's
no.
kind of like so I guess it was 12 years ago now, there was a plan put together because our roads were rated at like at like 70% of 100. And so there's a plan put in place, a 10-year plan that, to upgrade to, I forget what it is, 85 or something like that. And so that just ended, but we put aside $400,000 a year
Right.
for that. But that's what I think, sounds like
That's
what
what
you
I
guys
was-
are doing now is
We
what
just-
is the
That's what you
plan?
want
And it's
to.
not
That's what I
like,
was thinking.
Right, and we don't, I think just to clarify, we don't have the plan.
Right.
So it's for this committee at this point in time, it's very difficult to try to address that question, even though it's an important question. So I think what we need to do is develop that capital improvement plan like we did for the, in the case of the roads, it's operational, but it was still a plan over time of what we needed to do over time to address these issues. Without that, I think we're like shooting in the dark. So I think, and we significantly overcollected, I just want to say, this last year. That really harmed a lot of people. So I think we should be careful about not jumping into that pool quite yet. Is that fair?
I understand what, there's already been a big enough hit. And people would be, but
Yeah.
over time,
they
we
don't want
need
to
a
hear about
plan.
your old pipes, man.
But the reality is, I'm not dismissing that concern.
I get it. Yeah.
I think it's important, and we will need to have a capital improvement plan to address it.
So, Nate and Seth, the work that they've done so far, and they estimated they need about $100,000 a year capital to support replacement just of the vehicles,
Just vehicle.
just vehicles. The cost for sewer and water lines that you guys did earlier this year, I think it was a little over $12.5 million.
I don't
Some,
remember the dollar amount.
yeah, something in that ballpark. We have 20 or 21 miles of sewer and water pipe that constitutes the system. Not to mention, the other ancillary things. But I mean, if Nate is comfortable, it seems to me that, each one of these will have $2.5 million in surplus, and that's more than sufficient to sustain, you know, at least one pretty big failure this year if we had it, maybe even two. And, you know, we continue to be lucky patching so far. You know, when you drive through downtown, always remember to say a prayer.
Especially.
And if you have Mary on your dashboard, be good to her.
Patron saint of water mains.
I don't know.
Is there one?
I don't know. Or floods, St. Elmo. Anyway, but I mean,
Are you supportive, David, of tackling operating for this exercise for
yes,
this?
I am. And in fact, I like the numbers that I saw in the spreadsheets that you sent.
You
I
do?
think those are reasonable numbers.
Okay,
Given the shock that we had last year, and then
Yep.
to go back and look at what's there now, and, you know, 5% increase over a couple of years ago is,
Yeah.
that's much more reasonable. I think people would be happy to see that. I hope they would be. And
Okay.
it looks to me, you know, it's within the realm of the plus or minus for what we can do, and so.
Okay.
As targets, as revenue targets, I don't, me personally, I don't see a problem with what's on those sheets already.
okay, perfect. Okay, I think we're aligned. Are we good? Okay, so, why don't you pull up the model?
I would be happy to. Do you want to discuss that one last piece?
Not yet.
In terms of revenue? Okay.
Yeah, not yet. Because that
I
will
will
be.
keep that, I'll keep that document open then.
Okay, good.
Okay, while you're doing that, if you want, I'll mention, so as far as septage is concerned, I calculated the septage for the last 10 years. The average was just under $200,000 a year. As Bonnie indicated, in the last 4 or 5 years, it's been in the near 300,000, maybe even 380,000 in 1 year. So the mean is like in the upper 100s, just below 200, and the variance is almost 100,000. So, and then when you top that, so it is something we have to watch and be careful about.
Yeah,
Um,
exactly.
And that, but again, there's plenty of surplus there that, you know,
There's
if we lose it, life won't end, you know,
That's your point. as well.
we'll still be able to
Yeah,
operate.
yeah, yeah. And to your point, Kate, you know, we can look at it next year or in 6 months. Okay.
And also, I mean, unlike the tax bills and the tax rates and that, they're set once per year for the year. The select board sits as the municipal authority for water and sewer. They could change the rate the next
Anytime.
quarter if they needed to, if we had an emergency. I mean,
Yeah,
we
yeah.
wouldn't have to, we wouldn't have to wait next year and try to figure out how we're gonna deal with the extra expenditure. I mean, they could respond to
had
it
to.
immediately if you had
Yeah.
to.
Yeah, exactly. Thank you. Okay, so let's go back. So one of the things we did, David, in our last meeting is we talked about the levers.
Yeah, so,
Yeah, so a new lever, David, that we talked about was, so there's the connection fee base rate. There's, do you want a consumer allowance where you don't charge variable? Then there's the variable. And do you have one variable? Do you have more than one variable? And then the new lever that we talked about yesterday was meter size, which we spent a good bit of time on Monday. And that's another lever that would change how people's fixed rates show up, as a way to try to be equitable within the parameters of our billing capability. How's that? So when we ended last time, I asked you to think about how you might want to think about these levers and what any kind of proposal you would like to have us think about, and we can look at it real time. And also, in addition to that, one of the things that we did is what this model helps you do is play with the levers and figure out what kind of revenue you could generate. Just so you're aware, David, one of the things I talked about yesterday is that, you know how you said there's a big swing between wet and dry? One of the things that we did on Monday was we looked at historical values for the volume of water usage. And they consistently were aligned with the dry side. Like Not last year, but the year before and the year before and the year before and the year before. So like over the most recent 6 years.
It's
So-
been dry the last 5, 6 years.
So what we have to be thoughtful about is to look at the dry side as, at least for now,
I
we
agree.
can always adjust, but by doing that, it'll help us keep the rates lower. And then if we have to adjust, we can adjust.
I agree.
Okay, okay.
Do we have an average dry side number?
It's like 17. It was like 17 point this and 70, like I have
Oh,
that,
that's it
Leslie.
there.
You know, so I can share that with you. I don't have it right
Oh, it's
here.
okay, it's right there.
But yeah, but we targeted, we over collected last year for several reasons. One was that, well, I don't want to get back into that, but nevertheless, I think that we need to be living in the current, and that will help us with the rate.
So random question, and I don't know if it's even possible to answer this. We hired a consultant to come in and propose a formula that would sort of give us a revenue that we needed to meet it. Is the flaw in that formula, or is the flaw in the data we put in to calculate the final number? In other words, there was a $600,000 error for the spreadsheet, and there was an underestimation of the amount of water that would be sold.
Yes.
If we had not failed on those two things, in other words, if we could become more accurate in predicting water, is the formula and the current tier system a viable system? Are we throwing out the baby with the bathwater because we didn't like the result?
No, so let me clarify. The model, so, and I talked about this a little bit on Monday, the model, I validated the model.
Right.
So when you look at what the current rate structure is and what it predicts,
Current being the one we're using right now.
one we're using
Okay.
right now, and then you look at actual, they line up pretty well. So in other words, and where it lines up pretty well is with the dry prediction.
Mhm.
And
Exactly.
yeah, so the model, I'm not concerned about the model, the structure of the model. The probably one issue I would say is that it had such a big band of historical data that it tended to average across a very long period of time, which didn't let
Even
us.
though the trend was,
Even though
the
the
recent
trend
trend was
was-
not representative of the,
Exactly.
or historical
Exactly.
average is not, okay,
Yeah, so
Gotcha.
that I think is one issue.
all right,
That
that makes sense.
yeah, another issue I will say is that we didn't back out any revenue in the target the last time. And then the third issue is just with the fact that, as we talked about on Monday, if you have 3 tiers, you're gonna end up in places with high volume use that's very negatively impactful to a variety of entities and people, that can be very difficult to rectify another way. So they recommended the 3 tiers, and it was in the name of conservation. We, as a select board, are focused on equity and fairness. So does that answer your question?
Yep.
Okay.
Got it.
Okay. So, thoughts about the levers? Do you have any thoughts about the levers, Kate?
I have some questions, yeah.
Yeah.
So I was just trying to think about like what is fair in terms of like the people who use the most water, and just trying to have their starting rate be more than like everybody pays an annual fee, right? Of it's 83 or something, right? So, and I don't know if this is like going to be a huge pain, and I don't know. I guess this is a question for Nate. I don't know how many different meter sizes there are, but it seems like if you are a commercial user, you should have the bigger ones so you have more flow. And if you're paying, say, just out of the gate, $500 a year for like the biggest meter you can get, and then residential's paying a smaller base rate, even if you're in a multi-dwelling, you're still paying that smaller rate. I don't know if there's enough businesses that would need the bigger meters that we could then just have one rate. Like if all the businesses that need more are paying more, would that?
It's an
I'm making it seem really simple, but
we have it. Do you want to pull that up,
So,
Lily?
yeah, I can pull it up.
Yeah, we actually
track
looked at that.
everybody's
Okay.
meter size,
Meter size,
and
okay.
Yeah,
we have pulled the report. So
Lily
give me
did a
second.
little analysis on that.
okay, because it seems if you use more initially, you should pay like more annually, but like maybe then just get your rate the same. I mean, and again, I'm making it very simple. I don't know if that's even possible, but there should be like a different upcharge or a fee up front for people who use more, it feels like.
Okay, so Lily, walk us through what you did here.
So these are numbers identified as meter and pipe sizes for every single customer on the system. We have this is what would be considered the base size, the smallest size, the 5/8. 1,785 people connected, or not people, properties, meters. And then the next size up is at 43. The next size up, we have 56 customers there, 21 customers at 1.5, 20 at a 2-inch, 12 people at a 3-inch, and 1 at 4 inches. And the generally accepted modeling in the industry is that if you had a base price for the smallest, the next size up would be 1.5 times the base price. And then the 1-inch pipe would be 2.5 times.
Do we do that now?
We don't.
Okay.
But we do have the data identified on every single customer in our database. So it is something that we could easily pull and use it in our next billing in October.
Okay.
So for example, this size pipe is in some of the larger multi-unit buildings. And this is what it would then convert to for their base water and base sewer. So you're looking at what the dollar figure would be.
And that's quarterly.
This is the annual figure.
Annual.
That's so low.
So
We're not gonna get anywhere with those.
No.
hang on.
Keep going over the total.
So keep
impact.
going over. So there's 153 customers that would pay a little bit more for their larger meter. It would convert and add up to the to a total of 57,364 for water and 81,000 for sewer. But the base number would only be 3,200 or 4,500. So if you subtract out that what their current pricing is from what their pricing could be, we could see an extra $54,000 in revenue to water and an extra $76,000 in revenue to sewer. And we could tack that on as an additional expected revenue in our other
model.
revenues in the model, because I can't have multiple bases in the model.
Oh, sure,
But by
yeah.
doing this exercise, I can tell you exactly how much more money would be collected in the bills. And we could plunk that into the model and see that $130,000 in savings across the board, and what that impact would be for your next rate.
I
Typically,
guess it sounds like, I'm sorry, go ahead, Chief.
typically if this model is done, you start paying at zero for your water.
Well, that's a different lever.
But
That's
I'm
a
saying-
different lever.
But the people that do this, is like, have most of them looked at starting at zero, or are there ones that have this, like when you look at Keen and Bo, those are the two I remember that you mentioned.
Yeah.
When you look at their setup, do they usually do this and then say, okay, your first 750 are included because that's the average residential, or do they immediately start at zero? I know we have the flexibility, I'm just curious what the standard is.
I don't believe either one of them have
So it's
a
hodgepodge.
base that they're doing free water for
Okay.
your first
So they
300
start-
or 750
Okay.
or anything.
So they
Every
start
cubic foot
variable-
used
So they
is
start charging at
charged.
zero.
I'm positive,
Yeah.
but that's.
That makes
what I
more
think.
sense where
Right.
you're setting it this way. I just didn't know.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I know
So,
we talked about that as a.
So just in this scenario.
yes,
I guess this is a question for Nate, like, how many of the ones that are 2s and 3s should actually be 4s? Like, there's only one organization
about
in
the
this,
meters?
yeah, organization.
meters,
is-
Most meters are oversized. Sorry to make you interrupt.
No, I
But
don't,
most of them are oversized, and probably, if I were to guess, all the 1 inch and 3/4 could be 5/8.
But then the question, Leslie, are you trying to get at the higher end?
I'm just trying to, because I think
that's
I
only
think that's where
100
really
customers.
the problem with the current rate lies is not so much that we're charging a bunch for all the little users like me, but that the people with real volume, that's where we have to figure out what's going on. And I'm just curious, like, where those, I know that it's only, 53 people or 53 units. But it could add significantly to the bottom line if they were supposed to be 4s, but it sounds like everyone should be going actually in the other direction. Or most of the middle to high meter sizes don't need to be that big.
Not a ton should be decreased, but yes, some of the larger meters could be decreased. Like Steve Walker's probably doesn't need to be 2 inch.
These numbers are still super low though, in terms of like an annual number. Like those are what some people do. But I mean, in theory, we could charge whatever we wanted. So somebody who has a 4 inch, they could pay $10,000 a year for their base. And then have a single rate. In theory, right? So like, these are just standards, but we could do whatever we wanted. Cause it seems really low. And it doesn't seem like it marks the commercial from the residential that much, if it's just like a couple $100 a year.
What size meter does Kate have on the irrigation?
2 inch.
2 inch on the irrigation. But
You probably need a 2 inch.
But the question I'm asking is, she probably has 2 meters on the property.
I have 3.
Okay, so, but I'm saying the domestic, if you will, for the clubhouse.
Yeah.
It isn't necessarily analogous to go right across 2 inch for water and sewer because you may have a different number of. In other words, to make the assumption that all 8 of the people that have 2 inch mains also have 2 inch sewer is not necessarily an accurate assumption because her 2 inch main does not have any sewer revenue associated with it.
she has no sewer charges at all.
Not at all. So you're on septic?
Yeah.
She's on septic.
How about like a ball bearing or somebody? Are there others, in other words, other people that have, is that a pure analogous going across? So does the 1 4-inch meter that gets their water through 4-inch, do they have a separate domestic that would be charged for sewer?
I don't know who has a 4 inch.
So that's New Hampshire Belaring is the 4-inch meter.
Yeah.
They have several meters on their property. So there's only one of them that's a 4-inch, but then they have others, and I didn't look at
Because I'm just wondering,
sizes
do
they
you,
have.
are you truly capturing? In other words, if that 4-inch meter goes to something that is not charged sewer, that $737 needs to come off of that.
But it is.
You really made the
All
assumption
of
that-
New Hampshire Belarings are on water and sewer
So every meter is charged for water and sewer.
at New Hampshire Belaring. They
But I know
don't
that's
have any
not true
irrigation.
everywhere.
Yeah, so I think to me, here's sort of where I would suggest we maybe think about this or how to think about this is an imperfect but additional way to try to account for big user impact versus small user impact. If you take that 54,000 and the 76,000, well, let me say it this way, Kate, because you brought this question, is this really going to help us at all? So what's really interesting, Lily and I did this exercise. So what we did is we took the target that we are now all agreed to work with. We did this. And then we decided, to your point, that everybody pays on the volume, so no consumer allowance. And we were able to hit the target pretty darn close to the original variable rate we had before 2025. One tier.
One tier with
just those rates?
with the new current
everything-
lower base cost.
Everything, like, I guess
Okay.
my point, everything
Yeah.
kind of adds up.
Okay.
So everything helps.
So even if we just raise those like a little bit, we'd be over target.
Yeah,
low
I
rates.
mean, my recommendation would be, let's, now if you
You
could
want me to plug it in
plug
here?
this in,
Okay.
and into the model,
Yep, it's already in the model.
in the model. So let's
Yep.
pull up the model with that in it.
Yep, I'm gonna back out these two numbers, so you have that for your,
It ends up being a pretty surprisingly amazing kind of result.
Now, let me make sure that we know the answer to Ed's question. So when you guys did this, when you ladies did this, did you account for the 500 and some, 536 accounts that are only water and not sewer?
yes.
So the sewer is actually the 1,300. Okay.
Yep.
So these are good numbers. In
These are
other
good.
words, they're not illustrations, they're
They're
pretty
real.
good numbers.
Yeah.
Okay, so file, save. Here's your water model. And your new target for water is 1,175,312.
175.
At a flat rate. I mean.
It's not on this screen, that's what you, if we,
Oh, that's what we agreed
that's your
on.
new
So that, just so we're
target
super,
right here.
Your brain is.
See it? 1,175,312.
Okay.
1,175,312. Okay.
Okay, and then sewer
Is
is
1,066,229. Okay.
Okay?
That's what we have to hit.
Yep.
Okay, so now let's go to the model.
So water model.
And this one now has the meter thing in it, right?
So if we go to here,
I think people will believe you.
so
it's in there.
I'm just making sure, yes.
Okay.
So the bottom, you can see the bottom,
Me too.
use of fund balance for CIP, 192,000. Meter size equivalency, 76,519 as a revenue. And then in the water, use of fund balance for CIP, 260,000. Cold, and meter size equivalency, 54,168.
Yeah.
Okay?
Okay.
So those are baked in now into here. So if we did, if we maintained the current base, that we changed everything to, we lowered everything from 185.64 down to 83.54. If we kept it at 83.54, but then got rid of, free water. So reduce that so that everybody, you turn it on, you're paying, from day one. And then increased the per cubic foot by 5% on the old rate, not the current rate, the old rate, the 6.188 cents. That's actually too much money if we're trending to a dry year.
Okay, so let's, I'm gonna go.
Because a
into
dry year gets you 1,248,000. You see that, right?
One quick question, we charge for turning on and turning off, and is that built into this too? If somebody wanted to get out of paying the minimum, turn off their water, what do we charge for?
You mean they-
$41.50 to turn it off and $41.50 to turn it back on.
Okay, and is that in the model, so that if we get more people deciding to take advantage of turning it off?
It's not in the model because it's one of those things that you don't know. You can't really predict how
And-
many
and-
are
You'd
gonna.
How many
have to-
people are gonna be
you'd have to
cutting off their
drill
water?
Yeah, like you'd have to drill wells.
Ten.
Okay.
And some of the snowbirds could choose to.
Yeah,
turn
that's
it
what I was
off.
thinking of,
Exactly.
seasonal
What are their-
turn-offs and
Okay,
turn-ons.
so if
We have about 100 people.
here,
Back.
That's all I was worried.
yeah, so this is what it used to be, correct? the base,
It-
or
that-
what
no,
it is now.
That's what it is now,
2.6.
yes.
The base here, we're saying everyone starts paying from the get-go. And we put in 06497, and I'm gonna look at, so our, this is water, right? Water.
Yes.
Okay, so our original was 0619. So almost sort of like this, but not this and this. So
That's exactly what it was a year ago.
it was
061
0619.
8 years is rounded.
Yeah, exactly. So, and then that puts us at 1248,
Which is too much.
which is more than we said we need.
So in like a capital
So,
thing, essentially.
Or you could, instead of, you could change this 5% increase to, let's start with 0.
Yeah.
1196.
Still too much.
If you,
Yeah.
but to,
Yeah.
so
21,000 too much.
without,
But you
but
do wanna be
knowing the
careful.
variables, but like, as David said, the wet, dry part is the beginning of your fiscal year. It's July, August, September, October. That's the wet, dry part. So,
What does that mean?
Wet year.
wet year, dry year. A lot of rain, you don't water your lawn, whatever else.
Okay.
If you look at it, and again, from the conservative standpoint, you keep it at that 5% as it was. We get into the second quarter of the year, the third quarter of the year, and we realize that Nate's doing a phenomenal job. Expenses are trending perfectly. We've had a super wet year, and we haven't had to worry about that. Our revenues are way, we've had a super dry year. Our revenues are way up. Nothing stops them from adjusting down for that last quarter to meet their annual piece. It seems better than saying we're gonna get lucky because this has been the 9-year average, and the 1 year we adjust, we get bitten because we're short. And that can be part of, because David did a really good job explaining it, can be part of the discussion with the select board in September. Because, we're kind of stuck with that,
So-
and they're different
But
things.
it's also, I think you can think of it, if you look at the spread now, it's tighter than the spread used to be.
Yeah.
And if you get an extra 100,000 this year, at 0%, at those rates and that, it's not gonna kill any business, I
Right.
don't think.
Mm-hmm.
And then that's going in the surplus for the next year, and now you can adjust the rate going forward. So
Yeah,
there'll be a lot of leeway there.
And your biggest risk, which isn't a risk at all currently, is that if you get the lowest figure, it's a $300,000 drop, but you have 3.6 million
right.
In
in
surplus.
in this.
And then and then to your point, and we can adjust.
Put that 300,000 into the operating, if you will, I'm using that word, but take that out of the fund balance to offset the operating costs for that year.
Operating reserve.
Just like you, and every year they do that with the tax. It's one of the most contentious discussions sometimes in the tax rate setting is what percentage of fund balance you want to save and use.
Exactly, yeah.
So if I can just,
So what does that do to bills?
Oh, well, we can do that, but Leslie
Let's
first.
look
so I
at
just
sewer
wanna
first.
review what
Yeah.
would happen going forward. We would get an annual charge based on the size of our meter, which would show up, no?
It's
No,
gonna
it's
show up
just
flat.
It's billed quarterly.
Oh, you would amortize it.
Every
over-
quarter, you're gonna see a meter charge, base charge, or whatever we call it.
Right, but it's
but you're-
not
But it
just
is-
a one, okay.
It's not.
So
But it is
anyway-
based on your size.
Yeah,
Right, no, I get that part. I just didn't know the functionality
Yeah,
of like when you would
that's-
see it in
that-
the bill.
in
So
my
then,
billing software.
and then you would just be charged 61 with the same rate that we always had. So you would,
Yeah, but the difference would be that there's no consumer allowance.
Right.
So one of the things that Lily and I came up with, and if you can start doing this and bringing it up.
Okay.
One of the things that we thought was important about this exercise is, number one, set the target. Everyone's comfortable with the target. Number two, think about the levers. Play with the levers you get. Then, before you can decide if you're good or not, you have to understand the impact. You have to understand the impact across all points in the volume spectrum. So there's lots of ways you can do impact. I have my own model I created, but one of the things that Lily and I came up with is all of you in this room actually sit at different points on the volume spectrum. So what Lily did is created little spreadsheets for each one of you.
Before you ask.
So you are sadistic.
Yeah.
What would
Well-
you consider to be low use? Like what is, like say one residential house?
So this is very low use, 300 cubic
Yeah,
feet.
but I'm saying, is 300
300
really
is
a
low.
reasonable low, or
It's-
is it 500?
It's low.
There's somebody in the room.
So I have a household, me, my husband, 2 children, and a dog, and we average about 500 every quarter.
They're not normal.
I'm too.
And I'm not like a real big stickler about like the water usage. I don't
know, we're
It's just
worse than
how-
you. We're 2 people, 900.
oh my,
Typically, it's 80 to 100 gallons per person per day usage. And we could work that out to figure out what the
What's the
cubic.
cubic feet?
It's 7.4.
600.
I got my
About
first water bill and I
650.
ran out and bought a low flow toilet.
So what I want to do, if we can,
650
So we could
cubic
start
feet.
with the people that you don't know, because it's just
it's
a
just
number.
300.
yeah.
So this 300, this would, this was their bill for, the July bill. This is what their bill would be if we made this change. But,
This here?
yep,
Yeah.
I would like to point out that that is $16 less than what their bill was a year ago. Because the basic, cost for being plugged in and getting the first 750 cubic feet was 111.
98.
98.
111.
Okay,
Keep that, keep the 111.98.
But that was for, but wait, but that was for, no, that was for total water and sewer.
Yeah, that's what
That's what this is.
Okay,
Yep.
yeah,
Yep.
so it was
Yep.
111.
Yes.
0.98.
yes.
Yep.
So,
So I'm sorry, so the $50 from this
It's-
July?
Yeah, is what the bills that are out and people are paying right now. That's what somebody that has.
I guess I
300
don't understand
usage.
where the extra $46 comes from.
because there's no free
There's
water
no
anymore,
charge on it.
so they're
Starts
paying
at
for
0.
300 cubic feet.
But it is, yeah.
And
But
it
it
adds
is-
in the base charge.
So then in that scenario, that person doesn't benefit from this rate.
No,
It's still less than they paid prior to
the rate.
the
The rate change.
better rate going into effect.
Yeah,
Okay.
it's still less. Yep.
So 500, which
So
is
there are people who
Justine,
benefited from the rate change.
yes.
Oh, yeah.
Remember that graph I showed you
Yeah.
where it was
Yes.
down and then up? There's a bunch of people that got a big break.
So this is, it's 500 cubic feet, Justine's bill was 92.36. It would go up to 126.59, which is $15 more than she would have paid a year ago, at that $112.
How do you feel about that?
That's fine.
So,
Let's go
I
to the next.
liked that because we used to pay for 750 and it was always the same,
mhm.
even if we used less,
Mhm.
so.
Okay, let's go to the next one.
Okay, so the golf course has 3 meters, they're just water. And Kate's total bill for July for all 3 meters was 4,172. Under this new structure, it would be 2,618.
So much better.
And how about compared to 2 years ago, what's it look?
I didn't do that comparison. What does that compare to last year?
For
For the July bill.
Oh, I don't
I have it,
no.
but I don't have it with me.
I know that last fall, like my bill was typically in the fall, it's generally like 2 to 4. And
Okay,
it was like 10,300.
Yeah.
Yeah,
that's
that's because she was so high up.
Right.
Remember that graph?
Yeah,
She
so
got
I mean,
hit really hard.
when you're
Yes.
expecting like 3, and
Yes.
it's 10.
yeah.
Yeah. So that that looks great
So.
by me.
This is Noon Falls, which is where Steve Walker He has a 1.5 inch pipe. He's on water and sewer. His bill for all of the 11 units, question mark,
I think he said something like
was
that.
$5,452.
That includes Kogetsu.
It does.
Yes.
It does. It's his residential units, it's his business, and it's Kogetsu.
Okay,
Kogetsu has their own meter
Oh,
that they read
okay.
internally and charge them.
okay, so like they're not
So if
part
they
of
use
the
more, they're paying
units.
more.
Okay,
They are part of it.
okay.
But they are part of it.
There's a sub.
Yeah, we don't read it. It's not part of it.
Sub-meter.
Yeah.
Yeah, we don't.
So that,
So these are all April to June usage, so
Yes.
not the high, not when we really see big demand for watering, which is where we
Right.
get these blowout bills.
right.
But
So,
this is representative of what you.
Of a quarter.
Normal use.
I mean, I use a lot of
Summer use.
water, May to July.
You do.
Yeah,
Yeah.
just to get things going and
Yeah.
Who's
yeah.
steering?
I also think,
Lily is.
I
You
am,
can put mine up if you want.
I will,
It's
I'm
on
going
there.
across the,
Oh, yeah.
I just skipped David Bernstein because he's not here, so.
Well, when,
That's okay. He's kind of like, he's kind of like me, I think.
This is Tim Jenkins. His current bill in July was, my God, I can't see that.
134.
134.32, and under this new scenario would be $157.
Okay,
Okay,
let's go to me.
this is Bonnie.
800. Okay.
Her current bill, 155.30. It would go to 172.31. She's at 800 cubic feet. So we're getting closer and closer. This is Ed, former chief. 323.41 would go
Now,
to
see-
278.99.
See, that's sort of, you're at the inflection.
Yeah.
Now it's gonna start, yeah.
I think the perfect inflection was actually right. No, not that one.
Look at mine.
Okay.
Mine will be real close, I
David.
think.
Yeah, yours is just almost on the inflection.
So-
Yeah, the
exactly.
inflection
So
points are right around
1300.
1300
Yeah.
usually.
Yep.
I think you used 1300 last time.
So
You
I
can do
actually
mine,
pulled
really,
his
because
from
I have a
last year.
massive leak in my house, and you're gonna show me.
Here we go, Leslie.
We don't have to show it if you don't want us to.
No,
It's not-
it's just not representative of what's gonna happen when I finally,
Yeah.
when we finally
Yeah,
fix
yeah.
the problem.
But you would get,
You will save $220 a month, but you'll save a lot more if you
So that
stop
reduces
leaking
the
water.
ROI on
Yeah.
the fix.
No, I think I'll probably pay more than I paid last year because mine's more like yours.
oh, now you're
During
down.
no, if we didn't have this massive leak.
Yeah, so, open
Okay,
up
so
open
the
up the
pearl?
pearl.
Okay. So the pearl was
Was
1,777, and it would go down to 1,132.
That would help.
Probably go
You'd
even
be
lower
very
if you
happy.
replace the
Yeah.
dishwashers with brand new.
Yeah,
Because
but,
again, depending on the age, if you get a 10-year-old commercial dishwasher, you can save 50% of the usage.
yeah, I talked to,
How old is dishwasher?
I talked to him. He's not doing it. Yeah, I think he's, feels like
And in
he's-
all of these,
It's not what you guys are, how's my toilet, because it's not a dishwasher.
Yeah.
I mean, you know, it's
It's
just
a
the same,
choice.
right,
It's a
exactly,
choice.
it's a choice.
I'll let you know.
so here's the thing too, I
Still,
also.
that's not, that's a
I-
quarter too, right?
That's a cool.
Yeah, so you're looking at, $2,500 a year, $2,400 a year for him, so it's a lot of money.
It's a lot of
Yeah.
money.
So the
Yeah.
other thing that I plugged into everybody's little
Can we
mini
have-
bill
can
is
we
the
have one
size of their
distribution?
meter.
Can we have
Oh,
one,
gotcha.
hey, woo-hoo, can we
sorry.
have one conversation? sorry.
So everybody's got their meter size in here as well, okay? So the, okay, so this was the big one that we did, it's the hospital. So they have 2-inch meters, 1-inch meters, 2-inch, 1.5, 2-inch, 5/8, 3-inch, 1-inch, 5/8. The 2 5/8, they own 2 houses on, what's it, Sand Hill? Old Street Road, that they are using as doctor, nursing, housing, kind of thing. So their current bills add up to $76,566. Under this new structure, where their large meter sizes would be taken into account and charged larger volume proration, would be lowered to $43,868. It's a savings of $33,000.
So that you know, you can,
A
you
quarter.
can extrapolate that to all the
Hampshire
really
ball
big, New
bearings.
Hampshire ball bearing,
Rivermead.
Rivermead, we did hear from them.
Microspecs probably up there too,
Microspec.
should use a lot of water through their
Yep.
processes.
Yep,
These were the only ones that I analyzed in this way, just to get a cross sampling
yep.
Well,
and
it's good to show them
to
because they
help
have all
you
the
understand how this would impact
Yeah.
your personal.
Can you go back to the little ones, the fine
Yes.
ones around 1,500?
1,500?
Instead of the 3,200.
I'm kind of like, I'm 800.
Mine's 1,300.
15.
Oh, yeah, let's go to David.
Mine's 1,300.
David Odlin.
David Odlin
Odlin,
is only on water.
1,300.
Oh, you're only in water.
Yeah,
7-1.
live in the
15 Ed
semi
Walker, 1,500.
service part.
You
of
have
town.
both, right?
You both, yep.
Okay, so
This is
323 to
septic
278. So you would save a little bit.
Yeah. But it gets us closer, and I forget what it was before, but this, I think we were like 256 in like the 250 range before it took the jump. So I mean, when you look at 250 to, you know, 25%, like, you know,
It's like
10%,
25%.
and that's 10% over.
And here's the
basically
caveat
10
of these
years.
examples.
2018 was the last time we did it.
This is with the
So
5%
Yeah,
increase
it's
to
not- it's-
water.
When you look
Okay.
at it like
Five
that,
and-
that's
5%.
not a big
Whereas
increase at
the
all.
numbers that you guys were
Super
just
reasonable.
recommending
Yeah.
was 0%
Zero.
Yeah,
increase. So I could change,
I keep it at 5. I think that seems reasonable. Again, if we don't need it, then it can go into whatever we need to go spend money on.
And again, you know, where people are gonna watch us and think, and just go back to bite me, but is there a benefit to the 0 now while we figure out what that capital and the excess and everything else should be because of the overcharge last year?
It's,
And look at, you know, I know 5's not a lot, but, you know, is there a benefit to the 0, you know? We're changing one variable now. We're changing the way we calculate the bills. We're using the old rate that people knew. We're changing the way we calculate the bills. They can see that individual impact. Then try to create a system that adds in the capital, adds in potential repairs in the future, the ability to reduce that overall rate by utilizing fund balance. I'm just thinking, you know, so many things changed before. Now, if we just sort of like minimize the, hey, rolling it back to the old rate, we're changing just the formula. I think, you know, between you, Lily, and David, you can clearly articulate the value in the new formula, you know, with the other communities that you mentioned that use that. It might be easier just to leave it at the 0 for now.
so were you saying 5% to go into a capital?
Well, originally we had
No, well,
5%.
I'm saying is that if
This
you leave
was
it at the
5.
5% on
when you were
water,
talking, we just changed it to 0 to see what the dry year revenue would be, and it's still
Yeah.
21,000 more than we need
Mhm.
for water.
Oh, I see.
so I guess
I
my
see.
worry is that, like, I never, again, who knows how long I'll have the golf course, but I never want to have that happen to my water bill again, right? So
Meaning, just so everyone knows, big shock.
like a whatever that was percentage jump. So just, and I don't think anybody in town wants their bill to ever jump up like that ever again either. So if we talk about capping what we can actually do to people, like I think that should be a thing. Like the town's gonna agree we're never gonna go up more than like 16% or whatever it is, right? But just so that again, businesses and humans can just figure out what they need to kind of save over a course of a year. I mean, again, that came out in the fourth quarter. No business, if you had planned for the year before, had planned that amount of money to go aside. So if we just do a 0, it's just having a little bit of money so that we're not having to charge people in the future. Like all of a sudden, 3 systems went down and we need $6 million. We're like, hey, everybody, here's your water bill again. I'm a little cautious of just being like, let's not do an increase at all, even though we have money.
I would be very reluctant to ever commit to capping what the increase in the water rate can be. I would rather look at it as capping how much above operating you can, because the budget goes through a process with the budget committee and the capital committee and the select board to set what that operating and capital costs are. those are real costs that everybody in town has an opportunity to weigh in on. They may or may not choose to, but I'd be very reluctant to, as part of the rate thing, say, we're never gonna ask more than 7%. Because you don't know what the budget process is gonna bring. You don't know what real things are gonna come up. You know, diesel could be $10 a gallon next year. So I'd be very reluctant to say, we're capping the increase in the rate.
I think,
you know,
yeah, no, that, I
Yeah.
hear what you're saying. I think, and I hear what you're saying. I think that, there's a couple things I would say about it. It is a little, as a select board member, it is a little scary to have a cap.
Mhm.
On the other hand, as you know, was so sorry that so many people got hit so hard. Taking away the multiple tiers and not going back to that should help a lot. And so if we have to adjust, which we probably will, like there's so many uncertainties, just like you said, David and Nate, there's so many uncertainties. We do our best to estimate what we think we'll need in a budget operating. We do our best to try to figure out what's the most current trend, dry versus wet. We do our best to sort of think about what capital we need and what the capital plan is. But the inevitability of it is that we'll never be right.
Right.
We'll just try to make our
yeah.
estimates as close as possible. But I guess where I was going, Kate, was that I think structurally, how we set up the rates structurally can really help buffet any increases, because what happened was we had to make a sizable increase and then we had the 3 tiers. So it really magnified. Oh, and then
But
we
we also
lucky,
knew that for 5 years that money was due.
yes.
Right, so I think
yes.
that's what, like, that's my, like, if I take out a business loan and I know in 5 years, this has to get paid back, and all of a sudden I quadrupled the price of membership at my golf course, nobody's gonna come. And so I think that's the thing that, like, is really hard here with the town. I know you wanna say something,
I
go
feel
ahead.
badly. I think the most important takeaway is we need to look at this every year.
Yeah,
We can't,
Yeah.
it was
Exactly,
deferred,
yeah.
it was ignored, it was never, ever looked at for years. And that's just dangerous to
It is
do because
dangerous.
it just is kicking cans
It's
and.
sort of, it's very much like the Fed.
Mhm.
Like they've got so many moving parts. And so they're like every quarter, they're like, where are we and what do we need to do?
Yeah.
And I think that's really well taken. That, and you said it too, Ed, you know, we waited so long. And so I think by changing the structure, not letting some people get a big break and other people get sort of this really huge disproportionate impact on the high end, will really buffet against that in the future. And then also to your collective points, staying on top of it, like adjusting it as needed as we learn
Exactly.
and face whatever we face.
And also
what I'm saying?
notice, like, if we had known our bills, like if I had known 3 or 4 months ahead that my bill was gonna go up $7,000, I might have like not bought glow golf kits, or you know what I mean. Like I might have made
Sold the
different
golf cart.
purchases.
Yeah.
But you know what I mean. Like as a person who has to really plan every financial decision, not having any notice that that's what it was gonna go up to, like that, it was just shocking. So I just never want that to happen to anybody in town again if we could prevent it somehow.
And this, I think the other thing too, this does too, so we have not talked about conservation as a lever in setting this up, but this allows or gives every single user the opportunity to benefit from conservation.
So true.
Because even if you only use 300 a quarter, you can cut your bill in half.
Mhm.
You know, before you had zero ability, unless you're at that 750 mark.
Yeah.
You had zero ability there was zero incentive well, actually,
Yes.
not incentive, there was no ability, it didn't matter. You could never turn your faucet on and you were gonna hit that. So this, you know, indirectly or directly also allows everybody to have some level of control over what they are paying.
Yep.
Sure.
Because the variable cost of their bill the variable part is a much higher cost of everybody's bill now.
Mhm.
So can I just
the numbers you showed us on our own little tabs,
Sure.
that was the 5% increase.
You want me to change it?
No, I don't. I just wanted to know.
What do you mean? Fuck?
Can we just go back to the rate here and talk about, do we want it to be 0? Do we want to?
Yeah, we can talk, let's talk
3%,
about
Do you
that.
want me to look at your
So
individual
I
bill?
No, it shouldn't be about what.
Sure,
I
sure,
ended
sure,
up
okay.
paying. Like,
Yes.
Though I did find it interesting that you overpaid because you used less than the cap. I thought that was interesting, but.
Yeah, it's, so I just want to be grounded on this. What do we talk about 5% again? What are we talking about? Is it the difference between the original rate, variable
The
rate?
original.
Yeah, the
That's how the model is
Yeah,
designed.
yeah. Okay, thank
It's
you.
from 2 years.
Yeah, I mean,
Yeah.
honestly, I don't know, David, please.
Well, what I wanted to say was, to go to what Kate was saying, Lily, if you want to put it back to 5%.
Okay.
What I would say, and I don't have a
Oh,
strong
yeah.
opinion one way or the other, but
Oh, I see.
understand that if we make a little extra 5% this year, then we won't have to raise the rates quite so far next year, because sitting here today, I can tell you the rates have to go up next year.
True.
Maybe 20% or so, because we need $200,000 to $300,000 a year for capital to start putting away. And we just need to do that as good business people. And we need to communicate that one way or the other. You know, when we get all done with this, we need to communicate, first of all, to the town, to the people, hey, we got a lot extra money last year. You know, we don't have to go in ad infinitum about why, but we got a lot extra. So we're gonna give some of that back this year. But understand, we're not gonna give it all back because we need it and we need to communicate why. And so I would be a little leery about going to 0% right now, even if we collect a little extra this year, because of the way we're starting to do it, just like we've started to do it with all the other things in town.
Do you want me to,
It'll be adjusted when we come around to this again.
do you want to do that same
Next year.
example to sewer? Do you want me to pull up the sewer
Oh,
tab?
yeah, let's do sewer.
Okay, because sewer right now is
But
at
just,
0.
I just wanna, David, your point's an important one, and I just wanna make sure we just sort of, are there perspectives on what David just said?
I mean, I think there's two things there. One, yes, once we actually see what the capital plan is, we'll be able to better determine what the rate next year or how much we want to take out of the fund balance to get us started with the capital fund. But also, like, what do we need over the next 10 years? We'll have a better idea of that. But I think his other point is messaging. I think, it's not up to this committee to make that decision, but a clear messaging plan to the community. I'm sure there are people who are gonna be like, just give me back my frickin' $1,500 that I overpaid. And to really be able to message, we're not just keeping that like gremlins, we have plans. And I think the select board has to, I forget the guy's name, but his comment, his shouty comment about transparency, just, that's gonna be you guys once we finish this process, but I wouldn't want that to go by the wayside as we check this box of what the rate should be, so I think that's
Agreed.
David's point.
Yep, thank you.
Just one other question. On the low end, are we gonna have people surprised? There's a bit of an increase,
Yeah.
obviously, because
Yeah.
you're getting surprised because you're not a big user
Yeah,
and your bills were, so
Yeah.
are we going, and there
Yeah.
seem to be a lot more of those people
yeah, so
too.
let's,
So how are we gonna handle that?
yeah, so let's remember, it's a really good question. Let's remember,
Do you know how many people, have you run a model that would show how many people are gonna pay more using the 27 rate plan as opposed to using the 26 rate plan?
we do. But is it Tim?
Yeah.
Tim? Yeah, so Tim, this is really the story generally speaking. So the line was what they were paying before we
Right.
made the change. So they got a big break
Right.
on the low end. They got a
So they
very
got a
big
good break for a year, which made them feel good.
That made them feel
Now they're
good.
gonna get
It's gonna take
it's
them.
gonna change.
It's gonna change. It's gonna change. But the reason why we wanted to model impact along the whole thing, including the low end, is because it will be a challenge to message it, but it's not like we're taking them much, if any, above what they were
Right.
before they got
So
the
better
little bit of
sooner
a
that this is done.
when the windfall.
So this is the information that was requested by David Bernstein starting about 6 weeks ago with regards to minimum users. So currently, there's 204 people at 300 cubic feet or less,
Right.
but not zero. Whereas 750 cubic feet users previously, so this is what the minimums at the 750 level, we had approximately 600 people using between 1 cubic foot and 750 cubic feet. The so
So compare Q3 to Q3, because that's like months and people live in town, it's even a bigger gap. It shows even more people.
Right.
Less people are gonna be damaged by this change or see a big jump by this change.
Yeah, and it's just, it's not gonna make it massively different than it was before we implemented the change in 25.
And it gives them control over their water bill.
Mm-hmm.
They never had control over their water bill before they were stuck.
Mm-hmm.
They were trapped in that minimum.
Yeah.
So yes, though, you know, not everyone's gonna be thrilled.
You're talking $20 to $15 more versus thousands for higher
Yeah,
uses.
yeah, yeah.
So it's like, take the $15 just not socialism, but you know.
You could pay that difference, it'd still probably be
I
5 or 10
would.
grand. I would say you
More
are.
upset.
I'll never commit you to it, however.
I know, but
That's the absurdity of this conversation from Kate's
Well,
perspective.
it's not absurd to people on the lower
Right.
income
Yeah.
scale.
That's-
I mean,
That's what.
Yeah.
they've made their budgets too based on their very low water bill, so just, it's not actually funny.
Yeah, but I mean, $15. Yes, I understand it's $15, but when you were literally talking thousands
Oh
and
no, I
thousands.
have no objection to this rate, I just had the
Yeah.
objection to the levy over $15.
fair enough.
The,
Okay,
so
sewer.
this is the sewer tab. If there was a, just a, retain the current, minimum charge that we started this past year, but charge for all 750 cubic feet at the same rate that was a year ago, so 0% increase to the rate. It's actually, in a dry year, generating, $300,000, $320,000 more than we need. We need $1,066,229. So a 0% increase to sewer seems like the logical choice.
So I just wanna be
So-
clear, we're looking at the bottom row?
Yep.
Yes,
So for the fixed, the 118.
that's the annual cost. So we build
Yeah,
quarterly.
yeah, yep, I'm looking at quarterly, okay.
Well, could we even take a % off?
Lily, if we use the meters and then we subtract that out of what we need, then don't we need to put 0 in the model? Because we've already accounted for
Yeah.
the base charge for all the users.
No, I only accounted for the additional base,
Additional
It
piece.
was the
additional
net.
piece,
So you only-
only the 76,000.
Right, so
Yeah.
we're not double counting.
No,
Correct.
no, and that was.
Swinging the wrong way.
Yeah, that was just, we did it net like
No,
that.
this is-
Yeah.
I'm
We
a
just, yeah, go ahead.
Do you want me to plug in the negative 1%? Is that what was just requested? by somebody?
I just said, well, if we're making an additional 200,000 or whatever it is.
I think you'd be more like minus 6%. That doesn't even get you anywhere near. I think if we start doing that, you're getting into
Okay, just,
1249. Look
Yeah.
how far that gets.
I worry about
I
that.
know.
I think
Zero.
messaging wise, it's fine. If it helps us not increase it next year, then
Yeah,
I just wanted to see what it was.
yeah,
And
no, fair
messages,
enough.
we're just going back to your sewer rate of 2 years ago.
Yeah.
2 years ago.
If it can just be gradual. That's all. Like, however we do this.
And I feel strongly that the key is that we truly need to really analyze it every year.
Every year,
Mhm.
every year. And we can do it at any time, but every year, for sure.
Semi-annually, you make the commitment to have a discussion about it in public.
How are we doing?
You know, how are we doing?
How are we doing?
You know, how's this enterprise fund doing? And then look
Mhm.
at that, and then people can get it, because if you have that conversation in January and all of a sudden you realize, oh my God, there have been a couple of major catastrophes in this town, sorry, Nate. And the fund balance is really hurting, you can start to plan for what's going on, or, hey, it rained like heck, unfortunately, hey, you had a horrendous summer because it rained every single day, however, guess what? You can,
Right.
people can
At
understand
least
that.
your water bill went down.
So, can I ask, thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you. So, do we feel like we are,
I guess was our downfall last year is, are we really confident that our math is correct? Like, that the numbers we plugged, the model's fine, it's been validated, but do you guys feel confident that the numbers that we're playing with are accurate?
so when you say numbers that we're playing with, what numbers?
I mean, well, so, yeah, all of them, like anything on that spreadsheet that you showed us that you change, you put capital part, you put meter part, you put all these, and I just wanna make sure you guys are confident in that before we leave the room, because that's where we fell down last time.
I'm not sure that's where we fell
We
down.
fell down last time was estimated, one of the biggest things was estimated water usage.
Well, also, we were including revenue that shouldn't have been in there, and we were including other things,
Yes.
so,
I am incredibly confident in the budget data. Bonnie is incredibly confident in the usage data now. There are several members of this task force that have looked incredibly carefully at that in 5 different ways, not just wet and dry, but also we've added a lot of new users to the system, and that wasn't in this model a year ago. That the planning for growth in here was not placed in. This, I think, is the new and improved data model.
And a lot of
Okay.
scrutiny, a lot of scrutiny.
and that, again, that growth piece is another good reason to take a look every year.
Yeah, exactly.
Because that's what we were promised when they put in a new wastewater treatment facility, that our rate would go, our rate would be balanced by new users coming online, so.
Oh, interesting.
Oh, yes, that was one of the first town meetings I went to.
Okay.
There was a lot of shouting.
You were around for that, Nate?
I was around for that.
Yeah, anyway, we won't
You
go
were?
there. We won't go
I
there.
started in 2000.
So are you okay?
Yeah, I'm fine, I'm great, I just wanted
So
it recorded
Okay,
for
you're good?
posterity.
Yeah, oh yeah.
Good. Kate?
Yeah.
What happens if people,
do you want this at 5% increase to water or 0, just like the sewer is?
What do you guys? It's interesting.
Should we just all vote on what we
I
think?
think wouldn't you want that as a select woman?
to vote?
A vote of the task force?
Oh, yeah.
To bring,
Oh, yeah.
Lily,
I
what
think it's two
happens when
separate,
people?
I think
Yeah.
we have to have 2 votes. I think we have to decide if we want to go forward with something that has a base rate based on meter size and a single cost for every cubic foot used, because that's separate from what this percentage is.
Mhm.
Is
I
that
think that's fair.
reasonable?
That's the structure.
That's the structure, because
Yes.
that's one of our
Yes.
main goals was the structure.
The
And I think
structure.
we're 100% in agreement with the structure, right?
Yeah.
There's no even discussion over that.
Can
So
I
think
just
that
like
would be-
hands up, all in favor of that structure?
I get a vote, but I would vote for it.
It's like this.
Not a resident.
Cut my job in half.
Okay, now, Chief, would you like to take us through the next?
Oh my God. No, I think, so one of the questions we talked about was, what is the rate going to be for next year?
For this,
And for the,
next
sorry,
bill.
well, yeah,
For this
for the,
next bill.
right, for the next bill, for the bill for fiscal 27. And look, I think David articulated it best, not to throw you in front of the bus, but I think David articulated it best when he looked at the what's it, $200,000 plus or minus. And, if you look at zero, you're cutting that really close. I mean, the dry year,
You'd be 21,000 more.
you'd be 21,000, which doesn't give us that plus minus buffer.
True, that's
And
true.
don't forget, this is probably gonna end up being closer to a wet year.
Yeah.
That's true too.
And then, then we're at a loss. And it's like, hey, we have this great new rate. So if you look at the 5%,
Yeah.
the 5% gives us that $200,000 plus or minus.
Mm-hmm.
Even if we have a wet year, it gives us that, it gives us a much more comfortable position to be in, and and there were, one of the things that led to, if I remember correctly, because I was only half paying attention then, but when they had the last rate increase in 18, part of that was because of the conservation efforts due to the issue of the Summer Street wells, and we had started eating into fund balance. And we realized that was not sustainable, so there was a need to increase the rates. And I'd hate to go into our first year of our new formula eating into our fund balance. That kind of defeats the purpose.
So I think I would move that we accept the tier one charge rates and the revenue targets as presented
For fiscal
on
27.
the two spreadsheets for fiscal year 27.
I would absolutely second that.
Okay.
Because that gets both of those, gets the revenue target and it gets the charge. And I think we just okayed the base rate and the single tier.
Yes.
So I think those are the other two things that are important for the
Yep.
select.
So you're saying as it is with the 5% in there?
Correct.
Okay.
So 5% increase on water and 0% increase from the old rate on sewer.
Cool. Okay, how many in favor of that? Okay. Okay, good. So here's the
What's
good
your
news.
strategy for the select board meeting?
Yes, that's what I was gonna get to next. So, first of all, thank you for such a productive discussion, all of you. And to get to this point, I want to thank Lily for the partnership to plan for it for each meeting, and of course Beth and Nate for supporting us, and Justine on the and so I really, really appreciate all of it. In terms of presentation, I don't know, is it you and me? I don't know. What would you guys like?
I think
There's
it
one
should
of
be
you.
I think you
Kate.
guys should
Kate?
come.
Because Kate was one of the most negative people the last time. And
Negative, I'm like Switzerland.
Going with a high water.
I think, let me rephrase that. I think Kate was one of the ones
Yeah.
who most accurately expressed some of the frustration with people over how it was handled the last time and the impact on folks. And you, whether you know it or not, led some of the charge for this.
Did?
To getting to where we are here.
Okay.
Getting to this group of people in the
Sure.
room.
You did.
So I don't mean you need to be the lead,
Yeah.
but I think, I think some of the comments you made going through here you were one of the hardest people hit.
Yeah.
For this, both dollar wise and percentage wise. So I think that your ability to reflect as we went through this whole thing on you as a human and you as a consumer, I think would go a long way with some of explaining to folks the equity, because we
Yeah.
use that word of this. And I'm not saying like it's gonna be the Kate, show.
I mean, I'll do whatever. I mean,
But,
No, but
but
let
to
me just
explain some of
build.
that
Yeah.
piece.
Yeah, let me just build on what Ed is saying. I think I like everything you said, Ed. I really appreciate it, and I really do appreciate. I'll never forget actually January, the select board meeting in January.
was I emotional?
But
You
Ed is
were
making
calm.
you were
You weren't-
very
Yeah.
you were very impactful.
Okay.
So I do think if you presented and you have our support,
Yeah.
how does
I'm-
that feel?
Fine. Great. Yeah. I'm fine as long as I just have the right information, right? So just like maybe if we work together to do whatever. I think because I operate in a spot where I literally see so many different people every week, every day, it is kind of like the street corner where you just talk about stories and I hear everybody's bill issues all the time. And it was a few other restaurants that I'm friends with that were also losing their minds. So I don't feel like it was just business. I heard people too. But I'm super happy that we just came to this conclusion and it really didn't feel that hard. I mean, I think there's the emotional piece and then there's a logical piece, but I always say like I'm optimistically logical. Like I try to do the most, logical thing, but I try to have optimism too. And it's always much easier when you can work with people versus being at odds. At first I was, a little bit heated, but I know that's the best way to get together on anything really. So whatever you want me to do, if you think it will help, who like, are we convincing here?
So we are convincing the select board.
Okay,
so
so
it-
you being
You
one,
think it's gonna be a hard sell?
yeah,
No, I think you'll be fine.
okay.
And I really do, Ed, appreciate everything you said and,
Yeah,
and
that
the
was kind.
rationale,
Yeah.
for Kate doing it. And, you'll be fine and we'll work with you
Yeah,
to get you ready.
I mean, I'll mostly read something and then if I explain whatever, but
Is everyone comfortable with that?
Absolutely.
Okay.
I'm happy to attend too.
Yeah, more of you that
Okay.
could come, the better.
What I
And
was gonna ask is that everybody in the room and the couple that couldn't make it today, if they could just kind of keep alive and be ready for like maybe March or April next year, when we start to see what the capital requirements are gonna be and how that's gonna work out. Maybe this group would be able to come together again, for a couple of hours and talk about it because, we went 60% increase and now we're taking most of that back, but we do have to go the other way again.
yeah.
And so I think, going forward, we want to try and figure out how to do that in a nice, calm manner that, businesses in the middle-sized places can deal with, because they are gonna go up again. I mean, they just have to.
but
I know that.
hopefully in a reasoned, logical.
Again, it's, if you
I mean,
can
I
plan
wish I
for
could be
it.
more optimistic, they're gonna be a level like this
Well, it,
for 15 years like they were the last 15
Yeah.
years, but I
No,
know
but I
that's not
think,
the
yeah.
case.
coming with an actual plan and saying, here's why, instead of just saying, here's the new rate, will go a long way.
And again, David came up with a very good sort of perspective on this because it is an enterprise fund. The reserve really should look at two sort of pieces of it.
We'll talk more about that.
And I'd even go for a third piece. I would go for a catastrophic failure piece, like, what is your worst nightmare catastrophically? That's a minimum we never ever wanna go below no matter what. And then you have your capital and your operating side of it, because there may be a couple of tight years where, I'm sorry, we're not gonna put the 200,000 in towards the dump truck, the backhoe and the vac truck. We know that because they're tough years. But just as all the other departments, face randomly, but we never wanna be at the point where we have to come up with an extra $500,000 or $1 million because something has failed.
Yep.
We can spread that $200,000 over 6 or 8 extra years, but
And
can't
also
spread that
just,
million over.
just to be super, super clear, I know you all understand this, but just to say it. The fund balance that we talk about for the town based on the other side of the house, if you will, cannot be touched for this. Right. So whatever we have in this fund balance, that's what we have for the.
all you have-
wetlands,
all
and
you
that's
have.
And the difference between general fund and enterprise funds, these fund balances, that's truly cash. Whereas fund balance for general fund is not cash. It is the amount of money that's owed in taxes. That is impacted also by how much we underspent or over collected in revenues. So we add to fund balance and then we get to use it to lower taxes and then collect less money, but it's not truly cash.
Yeah.
And, water and sewer are separate
What's that?
We just-
Forget-
Separate
don't forget, okay.
accounts.
There's one other thing I really do want to codify coming out of this group, but I want to really state it and make sure people are comfortable and agree, is there was a very strong thrust towards, at a minimum, reviewing this every year.
Yeah.
I just really want to, because that is a recommendation.
As a recommendation to the select board.
Yeah, yes. Can I
Makes
get a
sense.
vote on that?
A
Sure.
motion?
A motion,
I
motion?
so moved.
Second.
Like, Leslie, how do you feel about that?
Yeah, I'll second it.
Yeah.
Okay, and the vote, please?
Sure.
Absolutely.
All right.
Yeah.
So.
Wait,
so-
does
Yes,
that mean,
yes, yes.
does that mean we have to come back?
Yes, all of you.
I'm sorry, too.
Yeah, just, because there are two separate, bank accounts.
Yes.
One for the general fund, which handles streets, and almost all these pipes that we know are old are under streets, and
Yes.
that goes into the general fund budget. And we can only spend a certain amount in any given year. We know Elm Street's coming. A collaboration in terms of information on what the plan is for the street linked in, so that when we don't dig a street up twice, or when we dig a big stretch out, wherever that may be, that we are in a position to inform the, the town meeting too, in advance, that it will make sense and save you money in the long run if we do these projects coincident. David, is that how
We
you
have
see it?
3 really good people that work very closely together with each other.
Yes.
I know have these discussions regularly.
All the
I
time,
think you
yes.
can feel pretty confident at the moment that they're not gonna dig up a street and leave it undone unless it's an emergency repair. They're pretty tops onto it.
Yeah, and then also.
We should be grateful.
Yes.
Yeah,
How many times
yeah.
have we seen the alert water main break on Elm Street?
Yeah, yeah.
Exactly.
And then, Tim, just so you know as
Yeah,
well,
I'm just trying to
yeah,
understand. how we
yeah,
can-
and also organizationally within the town,
Yeah,
both go up to the same person.
right.
This is.
I'm the new kid, so
Yeah.
Yeah.
it just, all I know is it seems like informing people too. My understanding is that wasn't necessarily always what happened.
Well,
Ever.
and this was,
Water main break?
Come on, you just
Ever.
changed
but
it.
also,
Ever.
this is the
My wife won't say it.
do it.
Oh,
I won't say
This
it.
is the perfect time to do it, because
okay.
with the completion of the roads project, which will be next year, we're at a starting point for all of it. So in other words, Tim and Seth, they can sit down and know exactly what's gonna be coming 2, 3, 4 years out, because they're doing the surveys continually, which gives you guys time to plan, time to predict and back it in. So this is actually
So
really
then
good.
Tim, I
If
think
you-
you should raise your hand for the capital improvement committee. No,
Yeah.
seriously.
Seriously.
Oh, I was complaining.
We need people.
Yeah,
We
and,
do.
and it's the best way to learn exactly what's going on in this town at any
I'll
given
bet.
moment.
Yeah, between that and the budget.
It's not that
committee,
many
right?
meetings, it's 6 meetings a year.
Is the next board meeting September 17th?
Listen,
So that
That's
was
right.
my very last thing before I let you go. Yeah, no, so what I would recommend is, because we made sufficient progress today to really bring something forward, I would recommend we bring it to the first Tuesday of September.
Right, they're normally scheduled as
Yep.
opposed to having to schedule another one.
Is that the day after Labor Day?
It's right around.
It's the Tuesday before Labor
Second.
Day.
Tuesday before,
Can you do that, Kate?
September 1st.
September 1st,
Mm-hmm.
Awesome.
yeah.
Yeah.
This is
5
really
p.m.
interesting.
Are they 5 or 4:30? They start at 5.
5, okay.
Can I just ask a question?
Uh-huh.
Does anybody have a preference as to what the wording of that impact fee or meter fee is on the bill? Because that's gonna have to
Connection
be.
Connection fee?
Connection fee.
Don't use
No,
impact.
that'll get,
What do you think, David?
Oh, yeah,
there is
that's for
already a
new
connection
services.
fee.
Isn't
Yeah,
it called
call
meter
that a connection.
equivalency?
What would you call it, David?
I don't know, I think it was on
I don't know,
that
I
paper
hope-
or in that email.
What you might
Pretty
call
sure
it.
it's called meter equivalency.
I think so.
I don't
It's such a
remember.
good
I
question.
think that's I want to make sure that whatever I tell the software company, because they have to modify the bill,
Yeah.
that I'm doing something that I'm not going to get a lot of pushback from.
What if it was like meter fee?
You can just put meter fee.
Straightforward like
yeah,
that
very-
is
Yeah,
Meter
You
fee.
can't really question
It does-
those
and-
words.
sorry.
Equivalency sounds really weird to me.
To me too.
It's
Well,
like,
then
it's
the
not a
advantage to
real
having
fee,
it
it's an
Be a
equivalent.
meter fee is it doesn't matter if you've got it turned off, because a lot of people turn off in the winter, they don't turn off to save water, they turn off because they don't want to be gone for 3 months and come back and have a basement full of water because the pipe
Right,
broke.
that's.
So by having a meter, the meter is there all the time regardless of what position the street is in, so
It's
that's
like,
the other advantage to a
it's
meter
like,
fee.
it's like the
Yeah.
modem fee.
That's
Yeah.
what I was thinking.
Yeah,
System access charge? It's really
I'm
vague.
not sure that'll fit in. I'm not sure that'll- I'm sure that'll fit in the bill.
As it is to keep the graph that everybody loves on their bill, it's gonna be a work of art to try to get
It will
2 more
be.
lines because there's gonna be a separate fee for water and a separate fee for sewer. So I'm like, I need to give them what we want it to be and then let them work their magic
Yeah, that's
and
very
do a
straightforward.
lot of testing and cross my fingers. 'Cause I'm like,
I covered all the words this last time.
Oh.
It's
because
bad.
it went up.
No, it's like, this is what you spend. It was like the World Trade Center next to Brooklyn.
Oh my
So the other thing too, this will, is this going to be a public hearing? Are you just getting our input? Or are you actually going to be setting the rates that night
I'm
for the
ask-
October bill?
I think we need to ask for a vote on the rate structure and on the actual rates.
So that needs to be a public hearing if it's setting the
All the
water
select board
rates,
meetings.
correct?
I
All
don't
the
know.
select board meetings are
I don't
public.
think it was last time.
I don't think it
Okay.
was.
The only reason I'm asking if it's a public hearing, then we have to say it's going to be right at 5 o'clock as
Right.
opposed to getting buried somewhere in agenda because something else comes up.
I don't
That's what I'm
remember it
saying.
being a
Okay.
hearing.
I don't think it was.
All right,
No.
all right,
Yeah.
I don't know, I just wanted to
I
make sure.
believe the selectmen are the water and sewer commissioners, so
Yeah.
they have the ability to set rates at any time.
Anytime.
All right,
Yeah.
perfect.
Yeah.
Just want to make sure we didn't.
Yeah,
Good.
no, good question.
Cool.
Okay. All right, thanks
Thanks,
everyone.
everybody.
Thank
Yeah,
you
thank
very
you.
much. Thank you so
Yeah,
much for
please.
serving. That was really incredible to be able to do that in 2 days. That was
Thanks for All
amazing.
the work that went into this.
Yeah.
Everybody who did.
Yeah, all the numbers made it possible, otherwise it would have just been
Yeah.
like a guessing game.
We'll be in
I was
touch.
like, I have a good idea, but I don't know if that's
Guessing
gonna
game.
work, and it worked, you know?
We'll be in touch with you.
Yeah, we'll
We'll set up some time.
Yeah, okay, bye, everybody.
Bye, thank you.
So you're
Hey,
ready?
don't run away yet.
I know. Well, we
Put the
can-
pressure
we
on
can-
that guy.
Put some pressure on him.
I should go and listen, for sure.
Oh,
I'm sure I can volunteer.
either way, so it's,
Well, good.
It's-
I know.